Hello everybody, my name is Ilse and this is hobbykr. Welcome to the second episode of drawing Genshin characters doing real jobs. I started this series a couple weeks ago and the first video did really well. So if you like this video, please let me know in the comments. If you have anyone you would like me to draw, let me know as well. And if you like videos like these, please subscribe. This episode, we are gonna be doing two new characters. One of them was not planned. It kind of just happened as I was working on the first drawing. And if you didn't watch last video, I did Mona and Raiden Shogun. So check out which jobs they were doing in that video. So without any further ado, let's get started with this week's drawings. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be drawing is Ayato, and I thought that Ayato could have a bubble tea shop, could either run or work in a bubble tea shop because he loves bubble tea. So I really wanted to draw like a more complex background, so I drew kind of like the behind of the counter, and I searched for references of like bubble tea shops and bubble tea equipment, and that's kind of what I drew. I actually feel very happy with I felt very happy with the initial sketch, but overall this drawing kind of like took emotional twists and turns for me. But I'm also really not used to drawing men, so I guess that is, another hard thing for me while working on this. But it was good practice, I guess, because I guess I should draw men once in a while. So for Ayato's outfit, I decided to base it loosely on his original design, like use the main colors and stuff. But really he's just wearing like a t-shirt and an apron because he is working. And for the background, I'm gonna give everything a very slight perspective, and I'm using the shift to make everything symmetrical. I actually really enjoy drawing objects. But one thing that I noticed with this piece specifically is that I think I drew everything in the background too cleanly. Like, I feel like it looks a bit cartoony and maybe too symmetrical and fake. So in the end, although I kind of like that I created something more complicated than usual, I do think that the drawing would have benefited from me using like freehand instead of using shift, because overall I felt like it looked a bit stiff. This is something I mentioned in the last episode as well, but I feel like it looked a bit stiff, even though I am happy that I did something a bit more complex than I usually do. And now I'm actually gonna get started on Ayato. So I'm using a soft brush with hardness turned all the way up. I like this look, but it does tend to look quite graphic and very like squeaky, clean, perfect, which I don't think benefited when the background was already so kind of like, not perfect because it's not perfect, but I mean like it really clean looking, I guess. But I am drawing the line art, and honestly, it was quite a quick process this time. I also kind of struggled with the pose, holding the boba. I took a picture of myself doing this, and I kind of tried to figure out, like, what I wanted to do was him kind of like extending his arm to give the bubble tea to a customer, but I'm really haven't practiced foreshortening that much, so it was kind of complicated. So in the end, this is what I came up with. as always, I skipped filling in the base layer for colors, and now I'm just going ahead with shading and lighting. Here I wanted to try shading with just black, but in the end I scrapped it and I just did it like I usually do. And I was really committed to using light in a different way than usual. Usually I do very simple lighting, and here I wanted to do something that was coming from the left, so like coming through the window, and I wanted it to look kind of like a sunny afternoon, kind of like a sundown. So I really wanted to do that. I don't think it really happened, but that was kind of like my objective. And I also really struggled with the colors. Color is something that I find quite difficult, but yeah, overall I feel like the colors look a bit off, and my teachers always recommend that I draw things in black and white before I start coloring, but since I don't have that much time to work on these videos, I just haven't done that when working in this series specifically. So I think maybe I do need to start implementing that method, even if it doesn't look as good as I want to. One thing I did like was the bubble tea. I thought that looked quite nice and appetizing. I wish I had made different color choices in the background. I feel like, again, it looks a bit desaturated and kind of, it blends in too much with Ayato, but you know, it was one of my first times drawing like such a complex background. Well, it's not complex, but background with so many elements, so I did my best. I did like that I used kind of like real sponge colors. And for the window, I'm just doing like a very, very, very simple kind of like landscape outside. And this thing at the front is a piece of glass. And I also decided to give it the finishing touch of writing the menu on the glass, which you will see in a bit. Okay, and after working on this piece for about 4 hours, here's the finished product. Now for this second drawing. So originally I was gonna draw Rosaria, but I was playing Genshin and I started that quest where you have to go to like the mausoleum and it's super, super long. I actually haven't finished the quest yet, but basically it has this character, Jeht, who is a mercenary who is, you know, traveling with the scholar. And I just really liked her. I know she's just like based on the Eremite NPC, like she's not actually kind of like an original character, but I just really enjoyed her in the story. I really liked her design. I loved her hair. I liked her attitude. And I just really, really wanted to draw that. To be honest, I wasn't very happy with the Ayato drawing, and I was feeling very down about drawing for the video and drawing Rosaria and doubting myself a lot. So when I felt the inspiration while playing with Jeht, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And I'm not even drawing a job. So that's why in the thumbnail, you probably saw I wrote professional cutie, because I'm not actually drawing her doing any job. I'm just drawing her holding Ben Ben. the machine in the quest. And also, as of the time that I'm making this, I haven't finished the quest yet just because it's so long. So I'm not sure if it ends sadly or if like Ben betrays them or something, so I hope not. But I just wanted to draw something sweet, even if it doesn't have that much to do with working. And I hope that you like that I'm kind of giving the spotlight to an NPC, but don't worry, like I'll go back to drawing actual characters in the next video. If you do have anyone you want to see, please let me know in the comments. Jeht wears a blindfold in the game, but I decided to draw her eye just because I feel like it wouldn't have looked as nice with the blindfold. So I just took artistic liberty there. And this drawing was actually really, really fun because Jeht's outfit is very involved. And drawing Ben was also fun because it's not something I usually do. He's very geometric. Obviously, I'm using lines. I'm not drawing them freehand because he is, again, an object and I wanted him to look very symmetrical and kind of like manufactured. And now you can see I'm really working my skills with the lasso tool and selecting everything to start with the base color. In case you're wondering why I do this instead of just filling with the bucket tool, I have found that Photoshop isn't as good as Clip Studio Paint with the bucket tool. And if you use any brush that has remotely any sort of like opacity or texture in it, the pixels just get messed up, and if you use bucket tool, it really ends up not looking very good. So that's why I prefer to use lasso tool in Photoshop. In CSP, I actually do use the bucket tool a lot, but that's why. If anyone knows of a method or like knows how to make it so that it comes out perfect, please let me know. I would love to know. For Ben's pattern, I just did it on one of the faces, and I mostly used like the symmetrical ruler because again, I really wanted it to look kind of like manufactured, and then I just copied that to all the sides. And honestly, I'm really, really happy with how Ben turned out. Like, I think it looks pretty legit. For her clothes, since there were so many details and different elements, I decided to actually use the black shading method. So basically what this is I just lay down a black, oh, if you see pink here is because I forgot to color these parts. So I'm just coloring them in pink first and then changing that color to the gold. But yeah, so basically I just create one layer on top of the things I want to shade. I color the shadows with black, set the layer to multiply, and then Ctrl U, I change the hue saturation, all of those elements in order to find a color and basically a way that all the colors match the shadows. And I think it turned out quite well. And lastly, I discovered, well, I didn't discover, but I'm using color dodge, I think, for adding like shinies to the drawing. I think I went a bit overboard, but I really liked, oh, it's linear dodge, I think. Yeah, I really like how it looks with the gold. Like, I'm definitely gonna be using this method to color gold later because I just really liked how it turned out. And I added like a few elements of shine and stuff all over the drawing just because, you know, I really like when things look really shiny and I just wanted it to look sparkling, and, you know, I just like going overboard with shine once in a while. Finally, I'm just shadowing in Ben and adding some highlights to him. And I'm just adding like a super simple background that resembles like dunes a little bit, the desert or whatever. And here is the finished piece. So those were the two drawings that I did for this edition of the series. I wasn't very happy with the Ayato picture, but I actually really liked the Jeht drawing. I hope no one minds that I did Jeht instead of like one of the actual characters. I promise that next video I'm gonna go back to doing like actual characters. And once again, if there's anyone specifically that you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye!